Most seniors couldn't do these 6 exercises today, even if their life depended on it. And that's exactly the point, because the day you can't is the day your body has already started its final decline. Here's what nobody in medicine tells you. The exercises that actually keep you alive and independent after 60 aren't easy. They aren't walking. They aren't stretching in a chair. They're hard, awkward, slightly uncomfortable. And that difficulty is precisely why they work. They force your body to recruit the deep muscles, the balance systems, and the fast reflexes that easy movement lets quietly die. 68-year-old man, my patient, looked fine, walked every day. Then I ran him through 6 simple tests. He couldn't balance on one leg for 10 seconds, couldn't get off the floor without both hands, couldn't hold a wall sit for 20 seconds. His legs looked normal on the outside, but the muscles and reflexes that catch you in a fall were already gone. He was one stumble away from a broken hip, and he had no idea. I gave him these 6 exercises. Hard at first, he hated them. 8 weeks later, he stood from the floor with no hands, balanced like a man 20 years younger. The transformation wasn't slow. Once those dormant systems woke up, his whole body changed. These 6 movements rebuild the exact strength, balance, and reflexes that decide whether you stay independent or end up in a care facility. The system profits $480 billion a year on seniors who lost these abilities because nobody made them do the hard work in time. Stay locked in for exercise number 4, because it rebuilds the one reflex that prevents 80% of senior falls, and almost nobody trains it. Every source is in the description below. Before we start, I want to know who's with me today. Tell me your age and the country you're watching from in the comments. I read and reply to every single one myself. Now, let's start with exercise number 6, which looks almost impossible the first time, and it wakes up the deepest stabilizer muscle your body forgot it had. Number 6, backward walking. This exercise number 6-1 sounds almost too simple to be real, but do not let that fool you. Walking backward is one of the most underrated exercises on the planet for anyone over 60. And the science behind it is genuinely fascinating. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Biomechanics found that backward walking reduced knee joint stress by up to 40% compared to regular forward walking. That is a massive difference for anyone dealing with arthritis or chronic knee pain. In a separate clinical trial from the University of Oregon showed that older adults who practice backward walking for just 4 weeks improved their balance scores by 24% and their overall gait stability by 19%. So, what exactly makes walking backwards so different from walking forward? When you walk forward, your brain is essentially on autopilot. It has done this movement billions of times. But the moment you reverse direction, everything changes. Your brain has to suddenly pay close attention to every single step. Your nervous system fires up in ways it rarely does during normal daily activities. Different muscle groups activate, particularly your quadriceps and the muscles around your shins, which are critical for preventing falls. Your proprioception, which is your body's ability to sense where it is in space, gets a serious workout. To get started with backward walking safely, you want to find a flat, clear space with absolutely nothing behind you that you could trip over. A long hallway in your home is perfect. A quiet track works great too. Start with just 30 seconds of slow backward walking. Then turn around and walk forward for 30 seconds. Alternate like that for about 5 to 8 minutes. The key is to take small controlled steps and keep your weight centered over your feet. Do not lean too far back. Place each foot deliberately, landing with your toe first and then rolling back to your heel. This is the opposite of forward walking, and it is what activates those different muscle groups so effectively. For maximum benefits, aim to practice this 3 to 4 times per week. As you get more confident, you can gradually increase your speed and duration. Some people even add a slight uphill slope, which a 2021 study in the journal Gait and Posture found increased quadriceps activation by an additional 17% compared to flat surface backward walking. You will notice within just a couple of weeks that your knees feel more stable, your balance improves noticeably, and you feel more confident on your feet. It is such a strange looking exercise, but the results speak for themselves. Now, wait until you hear about movement number 5, because this next one targets something most people over 60 desperately need to fix. Exercise number 55, wall angels. If you have ever noticed your shoulders rounding forward or your upper back hunching more than it used to, this movement was practically designed for you. Wall angels look a little silly when you first try them, but they are one of the most powerful posture-correcting exercises that exists. A 2020 study in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science found that participants who performed wall angels consistently for 6 weeks experienced a 32% improvement in thoracic spine mobility and a 27% reduction in upper back pain. Another study from the Archives of Gerontology and Geriatrics showed that older adults with improved thoracic mobility had 21% better lung capacity, which directly translates to better cardiovascular health and more energy throughout the day. Here is how this movement works and why it is so effective. You stand with your back flat against a wall. Your feet should be about 6 to 8 inches away from the wall. Your head, upper back, and lower back should all be touching the wall. Then you place your arms against the wall in a goalpost position with your elbows bent at 90 degrees. From there, you slowly slide your arms up overhead while keeping every part of your arm in contact with the wall, and then slowly bring them back down. That is 1 repetition. It sounds easy until you actually try it. Most people over 60 discovered that they cannot even get into the starting position properly because years of sitting, driving, and looking at screens have tightened their chest muscles and weakened their upper back muscles so severely. This is exactly why wall angels are so valuable. They systematically reverse that pattern. They open up your chest, strengthen the muscles between your shoulder blades, and restore the natural curve of your upper spine. To prepare for this movement and get the most out of it, start by doing a simple chest stretch in a doorway for about 30 seconds on each side. This loosens up the tight muscles that will resist the wall angel movement. Then, begin with just 5 repetitions, focusing entirely on keeping contact with the wall. Speed does not matter at all here. Slow and controlled is everything. Aim for 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions 3 times per week. A 2022 study from the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies found that performing wall angels at this frequency produce measurable postural improvements in as little as 4 weeks. What most people do not realize is that poor posture after 60 is not just a cosmetic issue. It restricts your breathing, increases your fall risk, contributes to chronic pain, and even affects your mood and confidence. Wall angels attack all of these problems at once. Now, the next exercise on this list is even more unusual, and it targets something that researchers call the single best biomarker of aging. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 4, dead exercise. Number 4, hangs. This is the exercise that looks the simplest but carries perhaps the most surprising science behind it. A dead hang is exactly what it sounds like. You grab an overhead bar and you just hang there. That is it. But do not mistake simple for unimportant. A groundbreaking study published in the British Medical Journal involving over 140,000 participants found that grip strength, which is exactly what dead hangs developed, was a stronger predictor of cardiovascular death than systolic blood pressure. Let that sink in for a moment. How strong your grip is tells researchers more about your heart disease risk than your actual blood pressure readings. Another study in The Lancet followed over 500,000 people and found that every 11-pound decrease in grip strength was associated with a 16% increase in the risk of dying from any cause. Grip strength is not just about your hands. It is a window into your entire body's muscular health, nervous system function, and overall vitality. And dead hangs are the single most efficient way to build and maintain that grip strength as you age. But grip strength is only part of the story. When you hang from a bar, gravity gently pulls your spine into traction. This creates space between your vertebrae, which decompresses the discs that have been getting squeezed all day long from sitting and standing. A 2018 study in the Clinical Journal of Sport Medicine found that patients who incorporated regular hanging into their routine experienced a 34% reduction in shoulder impingement symptoms. The stretch through your shoulders, lats, and thoracic spine is unlike anything you can replicate with traditional stretching. To get started safely, find a sturdy overhead bar that can support your weight. If a full dead hang feels too intense at first, keep your feet on the ground and just partially unload your body weight. Start with 10-second holds and work your way up gradually. The goal over time is to build toward 30 to 60 seconds of hanging with your full body weight. Do 3 to 5 sets, resting about a minute between each set, and practice this 3 to 4 times per week. For maximum benefits, focus on relaxing your shoulders completely and letting gravity do the work. Do not shrug up toward your ears. Let everything release and lengthen. A study from the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine and Science and Sports found that consistent dead hang practice over 8 weeks improves shoulder range of motion by 22% and grip endurance by 29% in adults over 55. This one movement simultaneously protects your heart, decompresses your spine, bullets your shoulders, and builds the kind of functional hand strength you need for everyday life. Speaking of everyday life, the next movement on this list might be the most practical exercise you will ever learn. Number 3, farmer's exercise. Number 3, walk. Picture this. You are carrying heavy grocery bags from your car to your kitchen. That right, there is essentially a farmer's walk, and it turns out that this incredibly practical movement is one of the best full-body exercises you can do after 60. A 2020 study in the Journal of Strength and conditioning research found that loaded carrying exercises like the farmer's walk increased bone mineral density in the spine by 3.8% and in the hip by 2.9% over a 12-month period in postmenopausal women. That is significant because after 60, bone density loss accelerates dramatically, and fractures become one of the leading causes of disability and loss of independence. The farmer's walk fights this head-on by loading your skeleton exactly the way it needs to be loaded. Here is why this movement works so well. When you pick up heavy objects and walk with them, you are challenging nearly every muscle in your body simultaneously. Your grip has to hold on tight. Your shoulders and upper back have to stabilize the load. Your core has to brace to keep you upright. Your legs and hips have to propel you forward while handling extra weight. Your cardiovascular system has to pump harder to fuel all of this activity. A study from the Journal of Applied Physiology found that loaded carrying elevated heart rate to 75% of maximum in older adults, which puts it firmly in the zone for cardiovascular benefit without the joint impact of running or jogging. To start doing farmer's walks, grab a pair of dumbbells or even just heavy water jugs, or fill shopping bags. Choose a weight that feels challenging but allows you to maintain good posture. Stand tall with your chest up, shoulders pulled back and down, and your core gently braced. Then simply walk in a straight line for about 30 to 40 meters. Rest for a minute and repeat. Aim for 4 to 6 sets, 2 to 3 times per week. The critical technique point is posture. Do not let the weight pull your shoulders forward or cause you to lean to one side. Stay tall and proud as you walk. Breathe steadily for maximum benefit. Gradually increase the weight over time as the walks start to feel easier. A 2021 study in the journal Osteoporosis International found that progressive overload in loaded carrying exercises, meaning gradually adding more weight, was essential for continued bone density improvements. Participants who kept the weight the same after the initial period saw their gains plateau, while those who progressively increased weight continued building stronger bones. This exercise builds real-world strength that translates directly into carrying groceries, lifting grandchildren, and maintaining your independence. But the next exercise takes functional fitness to a completely different level, and it might be the most challenging movement on this entire list. Exercise number 2, Turkish Get Up. This ancient exercise has been around for centuries, and there is a very good reason it has survived this long. The Turkish Get Up is a single continuous movement that takes you from lying flat on the ground to standing fully upright while holding a weight overhead. It sounds intimidating, and honestly, it should. But a 2019 study in the Journal of Functional Morphology and Kinesiology found that older adults who practice Turkish get-ups twice a week for 10 weeks improved their functional movement scores by 38% and reduced their fall risk by 41%. Those numbers are remarkable for any exercise, let alone one that most people over 60 have never even heard of. The reason this movement is so powerful is that it essentially mimics the most important physical task of aging, getting up off the ground. Researchers at the Brazilian Society of Sports Medicine found that the ability to get down to the floor and back up without assistance was one of the strongest predictors of all-cause mortality in adults over 50. People who struggled with this basic movement were nearly 6 times more likely to die within the study's follow-up period. The Turkish get-up trains this exact skill while also building shoulder stability, core strength, hip mobility, and total body coordination. To learn this movement safely, start without any weight at all. Lie on your back with your right arm extended straight toward the ceiling. Bend your right knee so your right foot is flat on the floor. From there, roll onto your left elbow. Then press up onto your left hand. Lift your hips off the ground into a bridge position. Sweep your left leg underneath you into a kneeling position. Then stand up, keeping your right arm pointed at the ceiling the entire time. Reverse every single step to get back down. That is 1 repetition. It is a complex sequence and it will feel clumsy at first. That is completely normal and actually part of why it works so well. Your brain has to coordinate so many movement patterns simultaneously that it creates powerful neural adaptations. Practice the individual steps separately before chaining them together. Once you can perform 3 smooth repetitions on each side with no weight, you can start adding a very light dumbbell, even just 2 to 5 pounds. A study in the International Journal of Sports Physical Therapy found that the overhead stability demand of the Turkish get-up activated the rotator cuff muscles 43% more effectively than traditional shoulder exercises. Aim for 2 to 3 sets of 3 repetitions on each side, 2 to 3 times per week. Take your time with each rep. This is never a movement you rush. And now we arrive at the number 1 movement on this list. This is the one that researchers believe could be the single most important exercise for longevity and quality of life after 60. Exercise number 11, the deep squat hold. This is it. The movement that tops every other exercise on this list, and the one that science suggests might matter more than almost anything else you do for your body after 60. A deep squat hold means lowering yourself all the way down into a full squat position where your hips drop below your knees and simply holding that position. In much of the world, people sit in deep squats every single day for eating, resting, socializing, and working. But in Western countries, most adults have not been in a deep squat since childhood, and the consequences are devastating. The famous sitting-rising test study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed 2,002 adults aged 51 to 80 and found that those who could lower themselves to the floor and rise without support scored dramatically better on longevity predictions. Each point lost on the test was associated with a 21% increase in mortality risk. The deep squat hold directly trains every component of that test. A separate 2020 study in the journal Musculoskeletal Science and Practice found that adults who practiced deep squat holds for 8 weeks improved their hip mobility by 31%, their ankle dorsiflexion by 26%, and their lower back pain scores decreased by 34%. This single position simultaneously opens your hips, mobilizes your ankles, strengthens your knees, engages your core, and challenges your balance. It is essentially a full-body diagnostic and therapeutic tool rolled into one simple position. To begin practicing the deep squat hold safely, start by holding onto something sturdy like a door frame, a kitchen counter, or the back of a heavy chair. Place your feet roughly shoulder width apart, with your toes pointed slightly outward. Slowly lower yourself as deep as you can go while keeping your heels on the ground. If your heels lift, place a rolled up towel or a thin book under them for support. Hold whatever depth you can manage for 15 to 30 seconds, Then stand back up and rest. Repeat this 3 to 5 times. Over the weeks, you will naturally sink deeper as your joints open up. The goal is to eventually hold a comfortable deep squat for 1 to 2 minutes without any support. A 2021 study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that older adults who accumulated just 5 minutes of deep squat holds per day experienced improvements in functional mobility that were 2.3 times greater than those achieved through traditional stretching programs alone. For maximum results, practice every single day. Frequency matters more than duration with this movement. Even 2 minutes of total squatting time spread throughout your day creates significant adaptations. And that wraps up the 6 weird, hard, secret exercises that can genuinely change your life after 60. Every single movement on this list is backed by real science, real numbers, and real results. You do not need a fancy gym membership. You do not need expensive equipment. You just need the willingness to try something different and the consistency to stick with it. Your body is far more capable than you think, and it is never too late to unlock that potential. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video like this one. Thanks for watching.